I thought we'd go for a walk today. Storms just rolled through and I'm hoping I don't get rained on. Although the rain and the storms never stopped Jesus. When the disciples were being rocked by wind and waves, Jesus walked out to them and provided peace and calm. Even when Peter stepped out of the boat and started to walk, but then doubted and started sinking, Jesus didn't let him sink. And that's because I don't think the opposite of faith is doubt. I think Jesus has something else in mind when it comes to faith. But first, let's hear the writer of Hebrews' definition of faith. And for today, that comes from Hebrews chapter 11. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous, and God spoke well of his offerings. And by faith, Abel still speaks, even though he is dead. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death. He could not be found, because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who had pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists, and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. So the opposite of faith, what is it exactly? Anxiety? Fear? Doubt? Now that last one, doubt, perhaps comes closest to what we're told and think of as Christians. That the opposite of faith is doubt. As if faith is something we gain or earn, something that can be lost or forgotten, some object that can be quantifiably measured in any human manner. So becoming a pastor within the ELCA requires 4 years of seminary, including 1 year of internship and a 4-year journey with a group of people called the Candidacy Committee. Now, they're a group made up of pastors and local church leaders in one's home synod. So for me, that would have been La Crosse, Wisconsin. And my candidacy committee returned year after year with this question: describe your faith to us. Describe your faith to us. Now that seems like an incredibly easy question. Just describe your faith. And I suppose it is. The problem is when we apply their definition of faith, when others apply their definition of faith onto us. See, my definition of faith was the love of Jesus Christ, abundant and unending, infinite yet intimate. I let them know that yes, while a myriad of theologies were foundational to my faith, there was one in particular that I was concerned about: love, loving God and loving neighbor. See, Jesus lets us know that these are the greatest commands. Sure, I have an unwritten list of theologies that are important to my identity as a Christian and foundational for my faith life, but they begin and end with loving God and a loving neighbor. Because for as long as I live, I'll never live up to Jesus' standard of doing either of those. Because Jesus was the ultimate provider of love. That's the Christmas message, or Christmas in July message for today. That Jesus was born as one of us, dwelled with us, lives with us, is human in the same way that we are human. See, faith is relational. Faith is stepping out into the arena of trust and love and knowing that heartbreak and sorrow are real possibilities, but trusting and loving all the more. Faith is knowing what not to fear. Faith is falling in love with the wonder of God's creation each and every day. Faith is the heart fluttering anticipation of the Holy Spirit's presence in your life. Faith is the joy of knowing that Jesus Christ is with you now and always. Faith is weeping at the loss of a loved one. Faith is the distress your soul feels for the injustice in the world. Faith is the thing that tugs on your conscience when oppression and violence affect the powerless. Faith is something you can't do alone. Faith exists within the relationships you have with your neighbors. See, your faith is communal. Faith comes from hearing the word, and it is enriched by the faith of others. Faith calls you out into the world on behalf of justice and mercy because of love, because faith is relational. Faith is your heart beating for your brothers and sisters. Faith is joy and hope and patience and sorrow and pain and fear and doubt all wrapped into one, and yet having the tenacity to continue being in relationship with others even when surrounded by doubt and fear. Because faith is relational. It's the ability to love deeply and widely even in the midst of doubt and fear. For perfect love casts out fear. And Jesus Christ loves you perfectly and faithfully.